How we doing, everybody? UFC Thoughts here, and today I'm going to be going over my picks and breakdown for every fight on UFC Nashville, Lewis vs. Teixeira on July 12th, 2025. Timestamps in the comments below. Let's get right into it with the first fight of 12. We start with Fatima Kline versus Melissa Martinez. I'm going to go with Fatima Kline on this one by either late round finish or decision. Melissa Martinez is the sister of David Martinez. She's kind of a, striker on the feet. She's kind of small. She kind of likes to pick. She likes to blitz in, kind of land her shots, kind of exit out, kind of play at range, kind of stay out of the way of shots. Fatima Kline, I think, is just going to ragdoll her when it gets into the grappling exchanges. Melissa Martinez, she debuted in 2022. I mean, if you know how my shit is like arranged, she's only had 2 fights in the UFC. She fought late in 2024 in October, had a very competitive fight with Alice Ardeleon, who she's alright. Alice is alright, but I think Fatima Kline has the style that's going to be able to smudge Melissa Martinez. Elise Reed out-grappled Melissa pretty heavily in the 3rd round and actually dropped her. Fatima's big for strawweight. She trains with she trains with Aaron Blanchfield. They're kind of a duo together. Fatima Kline's pretty good. I think that she's actually a really good prospect to look out for in this strawweight division. I think she's going to be able to take down Melissa Martinez very easily. Melissa Martinez has like a 25% takedown defense. And Fatima actually went 3 rounds with Jasmine Jasudavicius, which is hard to do, as we've seen. Jasmine is kind of on a roll right now, and she's kind of running through a bunch of people recently. And Fatima actually was decently competitive. The only reason why she was losing that fight was because of the size difference. Fatima, she's gone 5 rounds before she's beat, somewhat decent competition on the regional scene. She's able to get to the ground very easily. She beat the shit out of Victoria Dudikova last time out. I think Fatima Kline is going to be able to take down Melissa Martinez on the feet. Melissa's going to be a bit quicker, maybe a bit more technical, but I think Fatima Kline actually does use a lot of good weapons like teeps to the body and outside low kicks to try and corral her against the cage and then get her takedown system working. So I'll go Fatima Kline by either late round TKO with ground and pound or a unanimous decision 30-27 for Fatima Kline. She's actually decent. We move to Mitch Ramirez versus Mike Davis. I'm going to be going with Mike Davis by 1st or 2nd round. TKO. I think TKO. Mike Davis is one of my favorite, random fighters in the UFC. I really enjoy his fight style. In this matchup, Mitch Ramirez, he's had kind of a weird stint under the UFC banner. On the Contender Series, he got brutally knocked out by Carlos Prates. Had a decent 1st round with the grappling, but besides that, got kind of worked. And then against Thiago Moises, he just got absolutely beat to shit, from what I remember. He's kind of a brawler on the feet. He's got a decent double leg. He's very susceptible to low kicks. He actually got finished by Thiago Moises with low kicks. But from what I remember in the Thiago Moises fight, he was just getting outdone on the feet by Thiago, which I'm not a huge fan of, and I think he actually did get out-grappled in that fight, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, a little bit. He got taken down twice. He got taken down once in each round, seemingly controlled. Mike Davis, his 2 losses in the UFC were to Gilbert Burns on super short notice, and then Fares Ziam. The grappling might be a little more interesting in this matchup, but I think Mike Davis overall is just a way better fighter than Mitch Ramirez. Mike Davis, you look at a performance like the Vyacheslav Borshev performance, the Mason Jones performance, where, he's beating the shit out of these dudes. Vyacheslav, he smudges into the earth. Natan Levy, he just outclasses and outdoes in every aspect of MMA, drops him on the feet, out-grapples him, gets a submission in the 2nd round. Fares Ziam is just that good. He's a really good fighter. Mitch Ramirez, he's not young. He's an older guy. They're the same age. Mike Davis, he's usually fighting younger opponents. This is a guy around his age. And Mike Davis has just been in there with way better competition. as of recent. I think Mike Davis, his boxing is better. He has heat in his hands. He's got good offensive wrestling. And Mitch Ramirez doesn't really strike me as a guy that can control Mike Davis for 3 rounds and make him make mistakes like Fares Ziam did. So I'm going to go Mike Davis by first or second round TKO on the feet, searching, allowing Mitch to kind of swing and kind of pummel his way in or try to blitz his way in, and he'll catch him with a straight right hand, set him on his ass, and then follow up with some ground and pound shots or maybe find a sub on the ground. But I'm going to go with a TKO for Mike Davis. We move to Kennedy Nzechukwu versus Valter Walker. I'm gonna go with Kennedy. I think he's gonna win this fight. Valter Walker, it's gonna be tricky very early on, because Valter Walker is gonna be very strong in the early goings of this fight. But my big thing with Valter, even though he's getting in better shape, he's looked in better shape significantly more than in his debut when he fought Lucas Dresky. He still hasn't gone past the first round since the Lucas Dresky fight. He's getting very early submissions against, in my personal opinion, very low-level heavyweight talent. All right, Junior Tafa is all right. He actually fights later on the card. We're going to talk about him. But Don'Tale Mayes is dog shit. He has like a 47% takedown defense. And Lucas Dresky actually has like a 37% takedown defense. Junior has a 71. Kennedy Nzechukwu has like an 80-something percent takedown defense. He's really good when it comes to defensively scrambling out of things and also defensively using submission systems to escape certain positions. You look at the Devin Clark fight where he gets hurt, and then he starts tying up and defending takedowns, and then he locks up this gnarly modified power like guillotine. It kind of looks like a ninja choke, honestly. I think it is a ninja choke, and he just fucking starts cranking on it and chokes him unconscious. He's got that light heavyweight skill where he's fought those light heavyweights. He's beaten Carlos Olberg. He's beaten Ion Cutelaba. He's beating a lot of really solid dudes, and now at heavyweight, you see he makes Chris Barnett look like shit. He makes Lucas Dresky. He actually finishes Lucas Dresky in the first round. And this is, I think, going to be a fight where it's just going to be Kennedy being better on the feet than Valter. Valter's striking is very rudimentary. He doesn't throw a lot of combinations. He's very loopy and wild when it comes to his punches. He's not very contained. He throws like a wrestler. He doesn't really fully extend. He's very like, he always is like, he doesn't really throw jabs. He's a very hook heavy kind of guy, dive for the legs. And I think this could end with Kennedy getting a submission over Valter Walker, if I'm being totally honest with you, with like a modified power guillotine or a ninja choke. Because Valter, he's a very double leg heavy guy. He keeps his head on the outside. He likes to power people over, or he'll try and get them in the clinch. And this is going to be a tricky fight, like I said early on, for Kennedy, because this is going to be a dude who actually matches and actually is bigger than him. A true heavyweight who's not just short and fat, or a light heavyweight should be, like a Lucas Dresky could fight at light heavyweight, but he just chooses not to, because he's actually like really thin. Not really thin, but he's got like, he doesn't have a lot of excess fat on him. He could just go down. Valter, he's all right. He is all right. He is younger, but I think Kennedy is just going to have way better skills on the feet. He's going to be able to teep to the body really easily, jab his face off, be able to evade a lot of shots. Kennedy seems to take shots better at heavyweight as well. He's not getting wobbled by any flush thing that lands on him, even though he hasn't really been hit flushly. And Valter, I think he's just going to be always running. He's always going to be fighting from behind in this fight, even if it does go late. So I will go Kennedy Nzechukwu versus Valter Walker. I will go with Kennedy. I'm going to go with a submission. I think he's going to get a ninja choke over Valter Walker. Either that or he just tees him up on the feet and finishes him. But I think Kennedy might be able to find a sub here. We move to Lauren Murphy versus Eduarda Moura. I'm going to go with Eduarda Moura by decision. How do I even explain this? Lauren Murphy hasn't fought since January of 2023, and her last fight prior to that was in July of 2022. She's been very inactive. She hasn't even been booked for anything in the meanwhile, if I recall correctly, yeah. Like, she's fighting good competition, but she is not great. Like, I don't know how to... Like, she is not a great fighter. She's very weird on the feet, slow. Her wrestling isn't really that great from what I remember. Lauren Murphy's a very, like, I have to try my hardest to remember, like, what she did. I know she tried to wrestle against Miesha Tate, from what I remember. She got 2 takedowns against Miesha. She got 1 in round 2 and 1 in round 3, which seemingly won her the fight. Lauren Murphy is fighting a younger opponent. She's 10 years older than her. She hasn't fought in 2.5 years, essentially. And she's fighting a girl who just beat Veronica Hardy, who actually is somewhat decent at MMA. She's like, you can watch her and be like, oh, she's trained before. Lauren Murphy, genuinely watching her fight, is like, why are you doing this? You know what I mean? I forget if it was was it Eddie Alvarez? I don't know who said it, but they called her a Starbucks waitress or some shit. Dude, she got beat up by Valentina. Eduarda's going to be better on the feet. Lauren, she's slow before. I can't imagine she's faster now. You know what I mean? Like, I imagine she's fucking still pretty slow. She doesn't move her head. At least Veronica Hardy somewhat moves her noggin. Eduarda's going to be pumping her right hand down the middle. Lauren's footwork is garbage. Her head's going to be on the center line. She's going to get fucking tagged up by this young chick. And Eduarda Moira is going to advance to 3-1 in the UFC. This is a terrible fight. It probably won't even be that fun to watch. I'm going to go with Eduarda Moira. I'll go with decision just because Lauren's somewhat tough. You know what I mean? Like, she's tough. But Eduarda Moira is going to put fucking paws on her. If you remember, Lauren Murphy's last fight was against Jessica Andrade, and there was a huge controversy about whether or not the corner should have stopped the fight because she got her ass handed to her in that fight. Eduarda's going to be putting hands on her pretty bad. So I'll go with Eduarda Moira by decision. We move to Jake Matthews versus Chidi Njokuani. I'm going to be going with Chidi Bang Bang on this one. I'll go with... does he finish Jake? Pause, by the way. I don't know if Jake Matthews gets finished by Chidi Njokuani. Who is the guy? I know who he got KO'd by. It was Kevin Lee. Chidi can finish him. I'll go with decision, though. This is a very dangerous fight for both. I think Chidi Njokuani has weapons that work well against Jake Matthews, i.e., he's a taller opponent. I know Jake Matthews is coming off a couple wins, one of them being against Phil Rowe. I think the key difference between a Phil Rowe and a Chidi Njokuani is just the output and variety difference that comes from both. Phil Rowe is very one-dimensional. He's a very boxing-heavy guy. He doesn't really throw any kicks, which I love, honestly, about Phil Rowe. He's a fucking slugger whenever he's throwing. I mean, watch the Angelusa third round. It's fucking nuts. But Chidi's able to throw those low kicks, throw those head kicks, throw the knees up the middle, throw the bows up close. And that's something I think that's going to work very well with him. Chidi Njokuani works range very well once he finds it. There will be some moments where Jake Matthews will rush in and I think catch Chidi on the ends of his punches. Because Jake Matthews is coming off a performance over Francisco Prado that was pretty good. But that was against a midget for welterweight. I have no idea what Francisco Prado is doing at 170. He's like 5'8", with like a 68-inch reach or some shit like that. There's no reason he should be at 170. But Jake Matthews teed him up a little bit. Now he's going to go back into a performance where he needs to be the one advancing to win. Chidi Njokuani, he's always feinting something. He's always feinting to do something, throw a low kick, throw a teep to the body. And when you finally rush in, Chidi is a guy who loves to tie up. And I've seen Jake Matthews eat knees before. He'll grab the top of the head, knee, elbow. And Jake is a guy I've seen get put down by some people that, aren't great but have power. Like, Matt Semmelsberger isn't the greatest fighter, but he does have a lot of pop. But he got dropped every round by Matt. I can get once. But, you're getting caught 3 times by Matt Simpleberger, you know what I mean? He's not that great. And Chidi, he's just that good of a sniper that I think he can keep Jake Matthews at bay, keep him at range, kind of tee off on him, land the jab, land the teeps, land the low kicks, just kind of tee off on him with the body shots as well. Go to the body, go to the legs, break down the base to go up top. And Chidi has looked really good recently. He's old. He is older for a somewhat prospect at welterweight, but he's not fighting dudes who are twice his size, like width-wise. And I think Chidi's actually really good at welterweight, and he's got a really nasty clinch game, and that's something that Francisco Prado, for as short as he was, whenever it did get in there, he did land some big knees and big shots on Jake Matthews. So I will go with Chidi and Njokuani by decision. Maybe Jake catches Chidi at one point, but I think Chidi will be catching Jake Matthews way more than Jake will be catching Chidi, and Chidi hits hard. And he has better cardio at 170 as well. He's able to push a bit of a better pace, work the clinch a bit more, use more of his weapons, doesn't get bulldozed over as much. I think Chidi and Njokuani should win this over the distance or even with a finish, but I will go with the decision. We move to the featured prelim, Max Payne Griffin versus Chris Curtis. Chris Curtis's welterweight debut, I will be going with Chris Curtis over Max Griffin. Max Griffin is just so, washed. You know what I mean? He's getting outdone by, Michael Chiesa on the feet. So I think Chris Curtis, if he's able to fight, I don't know if anything's happened, if he's been banned or something since the Tough Enough performance or the issue there. But I think he should be able to beat Max Griffin pretty soundly. Max Griffin's pretty slow. He's old as shit. He's 39. I know Chris is 37, but he's not, he's not slow. Max Griffin's slow, comically slow for 170. Chris Curtis has actually still got some pop on him. And he's able, Max Griffin's only landing 18 total strikes on Michael Chiesa in the entire fight. You know what I mean? That's terrible. That is downright awful. Only 10 significant strikes at that. That is fucking despicable that you've allowed that. That is crazy. Chris Curtis should be able to box the face off this dude. Chris Curtis is still pretty sound. He won a round off of Roman Kopylov. I rate that pretty highly. He's got power as well. He's not going to be able to finish Max Griffin, in my opinion, but he will be able to outdo him significantly on the feet, if you will. It'll look a lot like the Marc-Andre Barrios fight, but not as competitive. Where Marc-Andre was still kind of slugging around, Max Griffin is not a slugger. He's I'm going to work my jab from range, and Chris Curtis is very defensively sound. He's not going to get caught by anything. As long as Chris Curtis isn't falling apart when he gets in the cage, he should be able to beat Max Griffin pretty easily. I'll go Chris Curtis, unanimous decision, 30-27, just outdoing Max Griffin. Also using some of his size. He's not tall. He's not as tall as Max Griffin. He doesn't have the same reach, but he's a strong fucking dude. Kind of bully him, kind of press him back. And I think Chris Curtis should be able to walk him down. Max Griffin gives up area pretty easily, so I will go with Chris Curtis to win. We move to We move to the start of the main card, Junior Tafa versus Tuco Tokkos. I am going to be going with fucking Junior Tafa, I guess. This is a pretty big meme fight. It was supposed to happen at Des Moines, but I think Tuco pulled out. I don't know. This is Junior Tafa's light heavyweight debut. He doesn't look how he does on the screen. He actually looks in pretty solid shape. Looks like he's lost all the excess off him. He's starting to get abs more prominent. It is a tricky fight because both of them are pretty trash. But I think Junior Tafa hits pretty hard. Here's my thing. If you're setting Parker Porter on his ass, face down, ass up, dropping him bad, knocking him out in a minute 30, you hit pretty hard. You know what I mean? As long as Tuco... but Tuco could out-grapple him, though. Fuck. That is a thing that could happen. Because Junior Tafa almost got finished by Sean fucking Charrière. Fuck. Now I do. Now I'm kind of rethinking it. Shit. I forgot that Junior almost got finished by fucking Sean Charrière. Dude, he is terrible. That was on 2 days' notice, and he almost got finished by him. They both gassed out pretty bad. But, you know, he had a decent performance against Muhammad Usman. He hurt him a couple of times. He got chewed up pretty bad by Rogerio de Lima. Got beat bad by Valter Walker. I mean, dude, this is actually hard to predict now. Dude, because Junior Tafa is not good, but Tuco Tokkos is terrible. They're both so bad. Oh, fuck. Tuco did take down Navajo Sterling. He got ragdolled by Umar C. He fought a 1-7 opponent 4 fights ago. I'm just looking. He's so easy to hit. He's so easy to hit. It's honestly disgraceful that Navajo couldn't finish him. But Junior, he's actually 35. His birthday was this past weekend. I'll still go with Junior Tafa. Fuck it. Tuco Tokkos is still terrible. I'm not picking him. I can't, Tuco, look at him, dude. He's a little fucking rat. I can't pick this fucking guy. I hope Junior Tafa, please, fucking Tafa Max, don't get out grappled. He's actually got good takedown defense. Junior Tafa has an 80-something% or 71% takedown defense. So he should be able to do decently well. Just don't get taken down, because if he does, Tuco might be able to run a submission game on him. But, yeah, Junior, stay on the feet, beat up Tuco, because Tuco is very easy to hit, and he's kind of chinny. So, how many times has Tuco Tokkos been knocked out? Twice. One by Ming Yang Zhang, and then who else? Ty Guerter and by a left hook. Junior, knock him out, please, in the first round. Just this fight fucking blows. We move to Vitor Petrino versus Austen Lane. I'm gonna go with Vitor Petrino, I guess. There's a lot of people changing weight divisions on this card, which is kind of funky, but fuck it. Austen Lane is garbage. He's been knocked out every single loss he's had. He's not good. He can hit pretty hard, which might be able to catch Vitor Petrino. But I think you have to be, technical. Dustin Jacoby actually is good. He's actually a really technically sound fighter. When you watch him, he's got really good kickboxing, really good setups. And that was actually a fight that I thought Vitor Petrino was winning. I thought it was 1-1, but I thought Vitor was up in the third round, and then he just got absolutely demolished with that, I think it was a left hand. And then the Anthony Smith fight was just kind of come on, dude. What are you doing getting subbed by Anthony Smith? That was pretty bad. Austen Lane is, consistently getting chinned. Justin Tafa, Janata Janiz, Mario Pinto. Mario Pinto's all right. Janata Janiz is all right. But that's my thing. And this is not a guy that he can, dominantly wrestle. You know what I mean? Vitor Petrino, if I'm not mistaken, has some of the best takedown defense. He's at 71. I think he has the highest takedown accuracy in, UFC light heavyweight history, with at least 5 fights in the promotion. He hits pretty hard. Him knocking out Modestas Bukauskas is aging really well, by the way. Modestas is 4-1 since he might be 5-1 since his return to the UFC, and Vitor is the only guy to actually beat him. Ion Cutelaba could have won, but Vitor took the judges out of it and knocked his ass the fuck out. Right? Austen Lane is dog shit. He slows down really bad. He's a big dude, which could pay dividends in this fight because Vitor is going to be fighting a dude who's going to be 4 inches taller than him. But, Austen Lane, his, defense, it really eeks me, dude. His defense is so fucking bad. He keeps his chin so high in the air. He always wants to do cool shit. I think Vitor's going to catch him in the first or second round by knocking him out. Or Vitor can take him down and, ground and pound him out. I don't know, because Austen Lane... What's Austen Lane's takedown defense? Has anyone ever taken him down? I feel like nobody has. He's got a 50, so he's probably defended 1 of 2. His chin is so bad. It is honestly god-awful. He did beat Robeles to Spain. But he lost the second round in that fight, from what I remember. He lost the second round. So I will be going to Vitor Petrino by first or second round KO. He's not a blob that's going to be taken down super easily. He's got light heavyweight skill moving up. I think he should win. I hope. Please don't lose to Austen Lane, Vitor. I really thought you were going to be something special. We move to Nate Landwehr versus Morgan Charrière. I'm going to be going with Morgan Charrière on this one, most likely by second round TKO or first round, honestly, either one of the two. Morgan in this fight, in my opinion, is going to have I think, insane striking advantage over Nate Landwehr. Nate Landwehr, very early on, is super susceptible to being hit because his head movement is garbage, and he has a very high and tight guard. What I've seen Morgan do to people who try and keep their arms up high, especially Nate Landwehr's guard is always up here. You can't see me, but it's always up here. His elbows are by his fucking collar. They're like a collarbone right here. They're right here. Morgan's going to be digging to his body. He's going to be digging front kicks and body kicks, and Nate Landwehr is going to slow down in this fight. He's got good pace. Morgan's been met with a good pace in Chepe Mariscal, and that was a very competitive fight. Morgan did very well in that fight outside of near the end of round 3 and midway through round 1 where he's just getting controlled. Nate Landwehr doesn't have that control ability. He just doesn't. He's a brawler. He's a pub brawler is what he is. Morgan doesn't really slow down. His performance against Nathaniel Wood was a little underwhelming, I will say. He got dropped in round 1. But that was against Nathaniel Wood, who is a very fast striker, who's still very solid, having competitive fights with really good guys. Nate Landwehr is so slow now, it's disgusting. He's got a really good front kick, but his actual punches are so loopy and terrible. Morgan's going to be able to just outdo him very early and catch him with something, I feel. Morgan's going to be met with the forward momentum of Nate Landwehr. Nate Landwehr is going to take the center very early, and Morgan is going to just try and, if he saw the Doo Ho Choi fight, uppercuts. Uppercuts are the way to Nate Landwehr because he has that high and tight guard. He keeps it. He tries to block hooks. He kind of shells up. Uppercut his ass. Jab, uppercut. Jab, uppercut. It also sets up and defends the takedown because Nate Landwehr might shoot takedowns. Uppercut. It puts that idea that he can't shoot if you're constantly throwing fucking uppercuts. Then he'll start searching for body locks. And Morgan Charrière's have got very good takedown defense. Look at the first round of the Chepe Mariscal fight. He very rarely got put down. He was defending basically every takedown Chepe had for him. Morgan's very good when it comes to defending takedowns, and when he punishes people for not getting them, Nate's going to be exerting a shit ton of energy, and Morgan's going to be blasting him to the gut with those teeps in front, with the teep kick to the body and the side kick. Nate's going to just be trying to advance forward. Morgan's going to make him pay for whiffing, catch him with a right hand, left uppercut, maybe body kick, just kind of pummel him whenever he can. Nate Landwehr gets hit a lot, and he's kind of chinny. People don't talk about it. Nate Landwehr goes down a lot. 3 of his 6 losses are by knockout, mostly to knees. Morgan's got decent knees in the clinch as well. I think Morgan overall is a terrible matchup for Nate Landwehr. The only time I'd worry is maybe in round 3. Maybe. But Nate Landwehr actually slowed down against Doo Ho Choi. So, Morgan, and that's something Doo Ho Choi did do, is go to the body very early, and Morgan Charrière mixes it up very well. He's not just a headhunter. He goes to the body decently well, beats you up your base, goes up top. Morgan Charrière by vicious knockout, round 1 or 2. We move to the featured fight, Calvin Kattar versus Steve Garcia. I wanna pick Calvin, but I think I'm gonna go with Steve Garcia by knockout. Listen, Calvin Kattar has one of the best chins I think I've ever seen. Durability-wise, he has one of the best chins I think I've ever seen in my life. But Steve Garcia is a motherfucker, man. He's a motherfucker, dude. And Calvin's on such a downward trajectory. He's 1-5 in his last 6. He's falling apart at the seams. He's getting outdone by Yusuf Zalal. You know, he's just getting injured over and over again. Blew his knee out against Arnold Allen. pulled out against Kyle Nelson, got completely ragdolled by Aljamain. And I think if he gets hit a lot. That's the thing, is he does get hit a lot. Being able to get hit as much as he was against Yusuf Zalal, who was on the back foot the entire time, a guy like Steve Garcia, who's going to be on the front foot the entire time, is going to be a very tough guy to deal with for Calvin Kattar. And the thing is like, Calvin can win this, because Steve Garcia has a suspect chin, and that is probably one of his biggest downfalls, is his his durability. He's been hurt. He, of course, got knocked out by Mahashate. He's been hurt by some other fighters. I remember Shia Leonard and Becky almost knocked him out in like 30 seconds. But when he puts his hands on people, Steve Garcia seemingly just puts them on their ass. And if you're going in there against a guy like Calvin, who's such a hard-nosed, in-your-face, forcing the fight on people kind of guy, I think Steve Garcia has the power to knock out Calvin Kattar when it comes into those exchanges where Steve Garcia is going to be able to... You look at the Sung Woo Choi, it's a heavy exchange in the pocket, and Steve Garcia hits harder, lands first. Sung Woo Choi is on his ass. Kyle Nelson bulldozes him over, lands brutal elbows. The elbow he landed to put him on his... to like make him heel over and give up his back wasn't even like... It was just like on the face, and then he just started pounding. Pause. You know, Charlie Ontiveros, murdered. Chase Hooper, murdered. Shia Leonard and Becky, comeback win, murdered. Melchizedek Costa, that is an underrated win. The fact Steve Garcia did what he did to Melchizedek Costa after having a first round where he got heavily controlled and then came out in the second and just beat the ever-living shit out of him, murdered. It looked like a murder scene when he was landing. And that's another thing. I should have brought that up for the Nate Landwehr fight prior to this. Calvin has so much scar tissue. He's going to get opened up so early by Steve Garcia. Same with Nate Landwehr, by the way, against Morgan Charrière, if Morgan lands anything of note. Calvin's going to get opened up. He's going to be bleeding by Steve, because Steve just has that touch to him, man. He hits really fucking hard. He's on a 5-fight win streak, all of which by knockout, 3 of which by first-round knockout, 2 of which by second-round, very early second-round finishes. Steve Garcia is a monster. He's a big dude for featherweight. This is a guy, like I said, huge, younger than Calvin, got really good UFC experience, hasn't lost in 3 years. Mahashate caught him when he was coming in. That's where Calvin could do good work, is on the counter, but I think Steve Garcia is also good in the ground game. He's got really good takedown defense, and he's just really strong overall. I think Steve Garcia is going to knock Calvin Kattar out. I think he can knock Calvin Kattar out. If anyone has the power at 145 right now on the come up to do it, Steve Garcia. I think John Silva would have knocked out Calvin Kattar if they ever fought. I think Steve Garcia's got that death touch when it comes to him, and I think he's going to knock out Calvin Kattar when they get in those pocket exchanges and Calvin Kattar's running headfirst into Steve Garcia and Steve Garcia is landing and exchanging with him. I think Steve Garcia is going to find the chin of Calvin, because it's going to be there and he's going to hit it. I'll go Steve Garcia first or second round knockout. We move to the co-main event. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus Gabriel Bonfim. I am going to be going with Gabriel Bonfim on this one. I think he will win by submission over Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. I think early on, Wonderboy's going to be looking decent on the feet. I think on the feet, Gabriel's going to really try and find his way in, because this isn't a fight against chaos where he's going to have to stay on the outside. He's going to be able to advance a little bit, or try to, on Stephen, because Wonderboy is a very, on the back foot kind of guy until he thinks that he has you hurt, and then he starts to press forward, push you against the push you against the fence, start landing his combinations, getting his striking sequences going, jab, jab, spinning heel kick, body kick, kind of teeing you up against the fence. Gabriel Bonfim, I think in this fight, he's going to be pressing towards Wonderboy, not allowing him to get his kicks going, trying to get into the inside with him, get in the clinch scenarios, and force Wonderboy to make a mistake. We've seen Gabriel Bonfim, once he gets a hold of guys in the clinch, he kind of just is able to pull submission attempts, Munir Lazez comes to mind, where he's just able to find a guillotine really early and just jump backwards for it. Trevin Giles comes to mind as well, where he forced Trevin, he made Trevin uncomfortable, forced him to try and engage in a clinch, immediately locks in a guillotine, chokes him out. Chaos Williams. Chaos starts advancing even a little bit. Gabriel's able to find the takedown, get the Darce position, and choke him unconscious. Gabriel's been rapidly improving, in my opinion, in his striking. I think his striking actually looked really solid against Angelusa, was able to push a pretty pace. He's in cardio improved heavily from the Nicholas Dalby performance when he blew his wad in the first round. I think Gabriel Bonfim is going to go into this fight, realize Wonderboy is backing up, push him against the fence, try and, avoid the head kicks, because this is not going to be a fight where I'm going to have to worry about a fighter, fully ducking into a head kick like Joaquin Buckley was when him and Wonderboy fought. Him and Wonderboy fought at 307, where he's just fully throwing his whole body to one side and Wonderboy's able to time a head kick. Gabriel Bonfim stands up tall, keeps his hands up, fights his way inside against opponents that he knows he needs to fight his way on the inside, can't fight on the back foot. Wonderboy will be able to tee off on you. I think Gabriel Bonfim is going to be able to enter his way in the clinch, force Wonderboy to make a mistake, and find a submission on him. Gabriel's wrestling also has been improving. I thought the Chaos Williams performance, he went like 4 or 5 on takedowns. He looked really fucking good there. Angelusa, he was able to tee off on. Ange was the one searching for takedowns there, kind of forced him to, kind of was making him try to use his explosivity early. Gabriel against Wonderboy, like I said, push him against the fence, force Wonderboy to get into an uncomfortable spot behind the black line, kind of force him to throw things that he doesn't want to throw, make him uncomfortable, and then get in the clinch, force Wonderboy to make a mistake, kind of Wonderboy trying to pummel out, Gabriel trying to get the outside foot to trip, kind of getting a body lock, making Wonderboy put his head in uncomfortable positions, maybe jumping to guillotine, maybe just trying to get Wonderboy in a grappling scenario. I think Gabriel Bonfim will eventually find a submission attempt, and when he latches on, it's very hard to get out, and we've seen Wonderboy, he got submitted by Shavkat, of course, at 296, has only fought once since then, so that was in December of 2023, fought Joaquin Buckley in October of 2024. The last time he won was December of 2022 against Kevin Holland, and that's when Kevin Holland broke his hand. We've seen people work Wonderboy in the grappling scenarios. Gilbert Burns and Bilal Muhammad really come to mind. I think Gabriel Bonfim is going to be able to beat Wonderboy via submission, get him in an uncomfortable position. We've seen Wonderboy give up his back in moments where people are threading the leg through. I think if Gabriel Bonfim gets to that position, I think he will find a submission. So I will go with Gabriel Bonfim via submission over Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. We move to the main event. Derrick Lewis versus Tallison Teixeira. I'm going to go with Tallison Teixeira on this one by first round knockout. There's it really is who's going to catch who first. Derrick can knock him out. Tallison does give me vibes of somebody that Derrick Lewis would knock out. I don't know what it is about him. He kind of if you go back and watch my UFC St. Louis picks and breakdown, bro, I literally picked Derrick over Rodrigo just because I was like, bro, this guy reminds me of somebody that Derrick would knock out back in 2018. Tallison's a big fucking dude. It could, but the thing is when he fights a dude this big, you get a Volkov-esque performance. Tallison's not as... I'm not saying Tallison's as good as Alexander Volkov. Do not get me wrong. But, Derrick Lewis recently has just been fighting dudes who are kind of similar in size to him. Rodrigo is 6'2". Rogerio de Lima is 6'1". Spivak is 6'3". Pavlovich is 6'5", or 6'3", excuse me. He's fighting guys similar to his height. He hasn't fought a dude crazy tall in a while. Tallison's huge for heavyweight. He is huge. And I don't think people talk about it enough. Derrick Lewis has been knocked out a lot. He has been knocked out 7 times. I know they're not flatline knockouts or whatever, but he's getting knocked out, like put in bad positions enough for the ref to stop it 7 times in his career. You know what I mean? And I think Tallison Teixeira's got really good punch power. I think he actually does have a lot of punching power. It also, when you factor in how old Derrick is, he hasn't fought in over a year as well. I know that heavyweight isn't like the youngest man's division. I know that it's, it doesn't really matter if you're old or not, but he hasn't fought in over a year, and he makes dumb mistakes. He does kind of barge in moments, and Tallison does try to, like, quote-unquote, be technical. You know what I mean? He tries to roll with shots and stuff. You see it in the Arthur Lopez fight where he's trying to roll with punches and actually he's getting caught by him. From what I've seen, Tallison can take a shot. Now, can he take a Derrick Lewis punch? Who fucking knows at the end of the day? Tallison ran through Justin Tafa at least. And that's another thing is, like, Tallison's actually running through people. Derrick did take Rodrigo Nascimento to a 3rd round. Chris Daukaus knocked him out in under 30 seconds. And who else knocked out Rodrigo Nascimento really early? Or am I just forgetting? Or am I thinking about something else? Did Alan Badeau? No. So Chris Daukaus was the only guy that really knocked him out that fast. Why was I thinking that there was another dude that knocked him out fast? I don't know. Yeah. Who knows? He just lost in the PFL to Oleg Popov. That sucks. Anyways, I think Tallison's got the style to beat Derrick Lewis. He's got really long, rangy arms. He kicks to the body. Derrick Lewis doesn't like when he gets hit in the body at all. He actually hates it. I think this actually could be a fight where Derrick Lewis tries to implement his really goofy grappling for some reason. If you rewatch the Rodrigo Nascimento fight, he threw like 3 huge overhands and then just went into a clinch. Maybe he's going to try and barge in. I think Tallison hits really hard. He's got really good knees in the clinch and elbows as well. He's just a really solid fighter. And also, I just hope he wins. I don't care about Derrick Lewis in the top 10 anymore. I want to see some new life. But this could go really bad for the UFC if Tallison loses. So, I think at range, Tallison's going to be picking Derrick Lewis apart. Derrick Lewis, apparently there's only a 4-inch reach disadvantage here. That's bullshit. Let's keep it a buck. We can look at the arms and see the difference in the bicep length and the forearm length. It's not the same. What's the leg reach, actually, for a guy like Tallison Teixeira in a fight like this? He actually has shorter legs than Derrick Lewis. There's no way that's real. That's genuinely impossible for that to be true. Tallison does have a long-ass torso, to be fair. He kind of does have... Maybe that... But, dude, that doesn't even really seem real. There's no way that's true. I refuse to believe that. Why does a Derrick Lewis photo look AI, bro? Anyways, Tallison Teixeira, I think at range he'll land a right hand, stumble Derrick Lewis, land a left hook, and then a straight right hand again, knock him on his ass, and then follow up with some ground and pound shots. Derrick's going to barge in like an idiot, get burnt by a Tallison Teixeira right hand, and die. So I'll go Tallison Teixeira over Derrick Lewis. Who fucking cares at the end of the day? This is a throwaway main event. Nobody cares. I'm UFC Thoughts. These have been my picks and breakdown for every fight on UFC Nashville, Lewis versus Teixeira on July 12th, 2025. My confident picks reside with Fatima Kline, Mike Davis, and in the featured prelim, Chris Curtis. My pre-card rating is a 5 out of 10. I'll bump it to a 6. Fuck it. For a fight night card, it's got Derrick Lewis, Wonder Boy, Calvin Kattar. There's some fun matchups on here. I think that just like the fact that the main event is so fucking funny to me. It's kind of hilarious. I think that this is going to be an entertaining card, but like the main event, look how big Derrick Lewis's fucking hand is. Holy shit. He's got some fucking paws on him. I think it'll be a quick finish. It'll be a lot like... It'll be another card where we get a first-round finish in a main event. So, it'll be a cool adrenaline dump for a fight. It'll be a little sugary drop-off for UFC fans. Yeah, I posted this on Monday. I have a couple of videos that I recorded on Saturday and Sunday to give to you guys throughout the next week. because I will be getting surgery tomorrow. So, yeah, just thought I thought I'd get this out for you guys in due time for me to, recover a little bit because I won't be able to walk, to be honest with you. But, yeah, hopefully UFC Nashville's good. I will see you guys after the fights, maybe. Peace.